We are on the record at 9:11 a.m.
We are on the record for the second day of the hearing in the matter of Sylviane Kouemo versus Small Business Administration. Today is January 11th, 2022. Our next witness, Carol Holloway, is present. Ms. Holloway, again, I'm Administrative Judge Martha Russo, and I have been assigned to adjudicate this appeal. You have been asked to provide testimony in this matter. While you're testifying this morning, if an objection is raised to a question, please don't start your response until I've ruled on the objection, and I will tell you whether or not to continue with an answer. In addition, please answer all the questions orally and keep your voice raised so that we can all hear your testimony and we can accurately capture it for the record. I do need to swear you in before you testify, so if you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, ma'am. You may lower your hand. Ms. Holloway, are you currently employed by the Small Business Administration?
Yes, ma'am.
In what position?
Attorney advisor.
How long have you been an attorney advisor for the SBA?
A little over 16 years and 1 month.
All right, Ms. Kouemo.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Hello, Mrs. Holloway. How are you doing today?
Good morning.
Morning. I would like to ask by asking you, you've been my supervisor. How many times were you my supervisor when I was working at SBA in 2020?
Twice.
Do you remember when the first time was?
I believe the first time was a project in rapid funding.
And then the second time?
Was a project in 2.0 disbursements.
Okay. The first time, who was the supervisor on the team, please?
Erica Rivera.
No, the first time, when we were working in Rapid, who was the supervisor?
Our manager was Erica Rivera.
Okay. And then the second time, who was the supervisor?
I don't remember.
Okay. So you said the first time was we were working in Rapid, and then the second time, what were we doing?
Disbursements, but not. I don't remember doing it very long, and I don't remember who our manager was.
Okay. Did you have a chance to review some of the documents that we submitted for the hearing?
I did, yes.
Okay. Did you see in any of those documents conversations with you, email conversations, where you were the sender or the receiver of the email?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
I'm going to go ahead and just start by pulling up. I'm going to ask you another question about the same thing I just asked you. Do you remember being my do you remember whether during those two times when you were my supervisor, whether Mr. Martin was I'm sorry, when you were my teammate, whether Mr. Martin was the supervisor? Mr. Christopher?
Chris Martin, yes, he came over for a week or two, I think.
And was that during the first time when you were my supervisor, or my teammate, or was that during the second time when you were my teammate?
That was the first time.
That was the first time? Okay.
And I could have that backward. I don't. I've been on 20 different teams since then.
Okay. I what I would testify, but okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to something else. So I'm gonna ask you please to open document tab number 9. 50, page number 54, and you can also go ahead and just open also number 10. I believe that we're gonna go into that also.
Okay, it's loading number 9.
Yes, number 9. And 54, page 54.
It's still loading.
Okay, that's fine. While it's loading, can you please let me know whether how long together do you if you remember how long did I spend under your leadership as a team lead combined in 2020? Do you remember approximately how long that was?
2 or 3 months, maybe.
Okay. Do you remember what you thought of my of me as an employee, as a team lead?
I do actually. When I heard your name, my first thought was, I always thought you were very, very smart and you asked really good questions. And
thank you so much.
Really all I remember about you.
Okay.
Board tab 9 is open, and I'm sorry, what page?
54, 54.
54. Okay, the email from Miriam about the time and attendance policy.
Yes. And I would like to ask you whether that email, I believe it was sent to, I believe it was sent from Miriam, and I would like to ask you first of all, who's Miriam, because we have to, who's Miriam, so.
Miriam Soto is she's the executive manager's assistant. She handles all of the administrative stuff for all of the employees.
And when you say executive assistant, who is it? Who is she assisting? Is it for all? Did you say all the managers?
And that could be wrong. I know she sits by the deputy for accounts and the accounts manager. So at least those two.
Okay. And who are the deputy for accounts and the accounts manager?
So that would be Rob Goodson, or James Rob Goodson, and Bruce Chone are the account. James Rob Goodson is the accounts manager, and Bruce Chone is the deputy account manager.
Okay. And how you said you've been working at the the PDC for 16 years. Have you always been working in the accounts department?
Yeah.
And has your title, when did you start working as a team lead?
6 weeks after I started, so February 2006, somewhere around there.
Okay. How many teams, roughly, if you had to estimate how many teams you've led so far, how many teams do you think you've led as a team lead?
Over 100, probably. I've got 20 different teams just in the last year and a half.
Okay.
A lot.
Okay, yes. So I'm going to ask you on page, we are in the tab. Okay, so on page 54, if you, I think I have it highlighted. Do you see the highlights in your copy?
Yes.
Okay. Can you please read, first of all, do you see the date at the top? It says April 8, 2020.
Yes.
And then, can you please read the highlighted parts, part of the first of page 54?
So if you have issues logging on from home, when and if you start to telework, please call your lead or manager. If they don't pick up, leave a voicemail that you started your day at ... but are having issues with your computer. Then follow up with an email once you are able to get on the computer.
Okay. And then at the towards the bottom, regarding arriving after your selected flex start time, please.
Yeah, if I may object.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry, yes, because we are running behind. Is that what you were going to object about, Mr.?
Allow Mr. Upchurch to state his objection if you would, Ms. Kouemo.
The document speaks for itself. If there's a question behind it, I think we can just move on there.
Okay.
Okay, sustained. Yeah, Ms. Kouemo, if you'll just jump to the question, she could read it to herself if she needs to.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Judge. Mrs. Holloway, I'm sorry, this is my first deposition, so I'm not used to this. So would you please read that, the parts to your, the highlighted parts to yourself, and then I'm going to ask you, if you scroll down also, read the actually, that's it for that document specifically. So I'm going to ask you about those couple of portions. Did you also get this email? I know that you are not CC'd in that email because it was sent from me and solo to our team. I believe it was onboarding team after we started. After that, basically, I'm just asking you: did you receive this email, or would you have received this email also?
Every time I get a team, I get the same email.
Okay. Do you mean the same exact email with the same wording, or do you mean the same type of email?
The same email with the same instructions, with the same attendance policy.
Okay. So has the attendance policy changed over the last, say, 4 years, since 2017?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. So when it says that you can if you're having issues working at home, please call your lead or manager. Do you believe that based on your experience, so that means that if somebody is having issues and they call you, or if they are running and also, I'm sorry, based on also the second part, do you believe that it means that if somebody is running late, 5 minutes or 10 minutes late, it's okay to call the team lead?
Yes, because your team only does attendance, so they would need to know that for attendance.
Thank you. And then when it says if you are 5 minutes late, you must submit the leave slip for annual sick or the LWOP. Based on your experience and based on this email and your experience at the agency, do you believe that it means that, generally speaking, running late for 5 minutes or so, or 10 or basically under 30 minutes in the morning is usually not considered AWOL automatically?
I would not know. That's a manager level decision.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you, what type of leave request do people usually submit when they are running? When they are, do you sometimes talk about requesting leave with people in your team?
Again, I wouldn't know. That's a manager level decision.
Okay.
I strictly do attendance.
You strictly do attendance.
Who's
Okay.
here, who's not here.
Okay. Right. So we're gonna move on to still the same document, page 60.
An email from Letitia Palm.
Yes, and then when you scroll down, there are also there's also an email from Miriam Solo.
With a schedule and attendance.
Yes. Would you have received this email also?
I was not on this rapid team at this time, so no, I would not have gotten this email.
Okay, but based on your experience at the PDC, would you consider the emails from Miriam Solo to be how is it about timekeeping specifically, such emails from Miriam Solo to be as if they were coming from management at the PDC?
Yeah, I'm sorry, we got to talking. Yeah, I'm going to object to this question. The witness has already stated she didn't receive the email, so she certainly can't speak to it.
Yeah, sustain.
Okay. Okay. When we were working at the PDC in 2020, what was the procedure for working overtime, working the 2 hours or overtime every day after 8-hour shift? If somebody was requesting annual leave or NWOP.
So that's 2 questions. So you asked about overtime, and the day they declared COVID, we were put on mandatory overtime 6 days a week. That has not changed.
Okay. And if somebody was taking leave, say annual leave or LWOP, were they allowed to work after a certain hour of the day? After, say if they were taking leave in the middle of the day, would they be allowed to work the remaining of the day without any issues?
My understanding of the attendance policy is you cannot work overtime unless you use sick leave only. Any other type of leave, that's my understanding, but I don't make the policies, and that's a manager level decision.
Okay, thank you. And we are going to go to page number 64 now.
An email from Scott Montgomery.
Yes.
Forwarding an email from Miriam.
And who is, do you know Mr. Montgomery Scott?
Do I know him?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can you say who he is?
He is an attorney advisor at the PDC. He started around the same time I did.
Okay. And if you scroll down a little more, you're going to see that Miriam also sent that email to a whole bunch of people. And I'm sure if we look closely, we're going to see your name somewhere.
Yes.
Okay. And then up, you see that Mr. Scott forwarded that email to a bunch of people. Based on this information, can you assume that he sent that email to his team?
I would not assume anything at this, just seeing this email.
Okay. When you see the email from Miriam Solo to a whole bunch of people, do those people, if you look at the names, do they usually or often work as team leads at the PDC?
Yes.
Okay. Would that be fair then, if you scroll up, to assume that since Mr. Scott Montgomery was in that list, that he was also a team lead at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And if you read the actual contents of the email, it says that if anybody is unable to log on in the morning, they can call the team lead and manager by 9 a.m. And if no one hears from them, then they can be charged able. Would that be the process that you would you be if somebody, for instance, did not call you, somebody that was working on your team did not call you by 9 a.m., would you have to report that information?
I report attendance every morning, so yes.
Okay. And if they did call you, would you have to report that information also?
Yes.
Okay. And both times, who do you report the information to?
So in the morning, I email either Miriam Soto or Linda Albright with my attendance. So it depends.
Okay. And who are those two people? What are their functions as far as this is concerned?
They are both administrative assistants. I don't know their actual title, but that's what they do.
Okay. And will either you or would any one of you notify also the manager about anybody that may be absent from work that day?
I do not. I report my attendance to the assistants, and that's it.
Okay. And do you know whether the assistants report that information to anyone?
I believe they do, yes. They deal with the managers and timekeeping.
Oh, thank you very much. Can we scroll down to number, still same document, 66. Actually, you're already in 66, I believe. Are we?
The email from me to my team forwarding Miriam's attendance email.
Yes.
Got it.
And it's dated July 27th.
Yes.
Okay. And if you look closely, I was a member of that team, and that I believe. Do you remember what? I believe that was the funding triage team. Am I correct?
That was a rapid funding team. Yes.
Yeah. And if you scroll down, it looks like, if you scroll to page 67, it looks like Miriam Solo is giving instructions as to how to submit leave requests for extra time when people are gone. And the paragraph, I'm talking about the highlighted parts on page 67.
Yes.
If you go one paragraph above, it talks about the length of the lunch break and everything. So that gives some context, right, to the document. Based on that information, and based on the information in the highlighted part below, arriving after 9 a.m., where it says that you must submit a leave request for 15 minutes of annual or sick or LWOP, do you understand that to mean that somebody should submit an AWOL request?
I would have no idea that's a manager level decision.
Okay. When I believe that you also concerned by this email, right?
I did what by this email?
What I mean is, if you were meaning that the rules in this email also apply to you because you are also an attorney at the PC, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So if you were 5 minutes late, say after 9 a.m. or after lunch, what type of leave request would you enter in the system?
I have no idea. That would depend.
Okay. Have you ever, in your 16 years at the PC, have you ever yourself submitted a leave request for a role?
That's been relevant, Your Honor.
So the question, Ms. Kouemo, was has she ever submitted a leave request for what?
For absent without leave.
Oh, well, I don't think anybody submits a leave request for A1, Ms. Kouemo, so perhaps you want to reframe that question?
No, that was exactly what I was trying to get at, that nobody does submit a request for that. On page 68, the highlighted parts say, you can read to yourself.
Okay.
Okay. It says that if you are running late, traffic, weather, etc., you must notify the manager, right? Would that mean that if you notify Mrs. Holloway and the managers are not notified, based on your experience as a team lead, would that make somebody would that be reason enough for somebody to be in trouble if they were only 5 minutes late and they were not able to reach their supervisor?
Thank you, Your Honor. The witness has already testified she didn't make those types of determinations.
Yes, sustained. I think Ms. Kouemo, Ms. Holloway has testified that she doesn't play any role in approving or denying leave requests. Is that correct, Ms. Holloway?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
So I don't think she can answer that question you asked, Ms. Kouemo.
Thank you, Judge. If you go to page, let's do page number, same document, page number 93.
An email from me to you, copying Jennifer Davis.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. On that email, were you advising me about submitting a leave slip for an absence?
You let me know that you are going to be late coming back from lunch, and I said, I believe that requires a leave slip and you won't be able to work overtime. And then I attached Miriam's attendance guidance that she had just sent to us a week before.
Okay. All right. Is it fair to say then that you had some type of knowledge or understanding about the way that leave requests work at the SBA, and that you provided guidance as to when it was necessary to submit a leave request?
Yes, if you're not here, it requires a leave request.
Okay.
That was my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to, I'm going to have to open document it. No. Let's open document number 23 now, please.
Okay, it's loading. Okay,
Can we go to page 43, please?
okay. This looks like something you wrote.
Yes, I'm sorry. I think I put down the wrong document number. I'm sorry, just a second. Can you go to document number 37, please?
Page 37 is a certificate of service.
If I'm really sure, did you take document number 37?
Yes, I'm so, yes, that number 37.
Yeah, 37? Thank you.
Thank you. 37. Okay, it's loading.
And when it loads, we're going to go to page number 43.
Okay. Still loading, okay. 43. Okay. An email from Jennifer David to me. Email from me to Jennifer. An email from you to Erica. So these are emails regarding a call that Erica Rivera and Christopher Martin had with you. And you disagreed with their classification of AWOL.
Are you on page number 43?
Yes.
Do you see that do you agree that the date on email is Tuesday, July 21st?
Yes.
And who is Jennifer Davis, please?
Jennifer Davis was Erica's, she worked with Erica as her manager backup.
Would you elaborate on that? What does that mean, manager backup?
She was Erica's backup. So when we have a large disaster and we only have 6 managers, when it hits, they get other people to assist them in their managerial duties. And Jennifer Davis was Erica Rivera's manager backup. Now Jennifer Davis is herself a manager.
Oh, okay. Thank you for this information. So if you scroll down the page, it looks like, and you read your comments in purple.
I see my comments, yes.
What did you mean by what you said by not messing with Erica and did not realize the thinness of the ice?
So basically, they are super strict about attendance when we are in a massive disaster response. And so I just felt like you were kind of messing with them as far as attendance goes, because they do not play around with us. They do not, there's no leave approved. And so taking leave and then asking for approval when you know we can't take leave, to me, is kind of asking to get in trouble with the managers. And so that's all my comment meant was, everybody knows when we have a disaster, they're serious. They do not play around with time and leave, and you can game the system basically by using annual leave so you don't have to do your overtime that day. And so, and I wasn't implying that's what you were doing, I was just saying, I'm not sure you understand that gets you on pretty thin ice around here pretty quick if you have attendance issues in the midst of a huge disaster response. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And when you say she emailed only Erica, was that?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Christopher Martin and Erica Rivera called you and counseled you, and you only emailed Erica. That's all I was saying. That you didn't include Christopher Martin.
Oh, okay, okay. And okay. But when you scroll down to the email right below, I see that you are CC'd in the email, and Mr. Martin was also CC'd in the email, right, that I sent to Mr. Bell.
It doesn't look like the other email is on here. Because I say 5 minutes later, after that email, you emailed only Erica. And I don't see that email here.
Okay. Do you remember that who was the supervisor when the leave issues happened around that time? Who was the supervisor of the team on Monday, July 20th, until Monday, July 20th?
I do not remember. I can guess and say Erica Rivera.
Okay.
I do not remember.
Okay. I'm going to go to actually, I'm going to ask you a few follow-up questions, please. Did you say that there's no leave approved at the PDC during disasters, during busy times of the is that what you said?
It's very difficult, yes.
Okay. Do you remember whether anybody on your team during, say, from April, any one of your teams from April to August 2020 had requested annual leave in advance?
I would have no idea.
Okay. Do you remember during that time anybody being charged with payroll besides me?
I would not know. That's a manager level decision.
Were you aware of the charges of AWOL about me around July 20th or early August 2020?
No, I was not.
Were you aware of any type of issues regarding my work performance around that time on the 23H team?
No, I was not.
Okay. Did you, as part of your team lead for the 23H team, what were your duties?
I've been on several rapid triage team, funding teams. Are you asking me about the team you were on?
Yes, the team I was on, and the team that you were the leader of, where we use a spreadsheet to copy and paste information, loan numbers from the spreadsheet, enter information, I believe in Rapid, open the file, scroll down, copy the bank the funding status, and then go back to the spreadsheet and paste it and start over. Do you remember that assignment?
Yes.
Okay. What was your role as a team lead during that time?
As a team lead, I take attendance every morning, I answer questions, and train and develop my teams.
Do you know how long that assignment lasted? How long we were on that specific assignment?
I don't remember it being very long, maybe a couple months.
Okay. And during that time, after taking those attendance in the morning, what did you do exactly for the rest of the day?
As to relevance, what the witness did for the rest of the day, I don't know, is really a question here.
That's the thing. If you'll just ask a more direct question about your appeal, Ms. Kouemo.
Yes. Mrs. Holloway, did you have to monitor work on the spreadsheet when you were a team lead?
I did, yes.
Okay. And when you were monitoring work on the spreadsheet, what type of information were you gathering or looking at?
So I would review the spreadsheet, I would go through the files, make sure that information on the spreadsheet was accurate, and make sure people were doing their jobs.
Did you find, do you remember the composition of that team? What were the titles of the people on that team?
I had both attorneys and paralegals.
Okay. Did you have any, besides paralegals, do you have legal assistants or anyone, loan specialist or anyone like that on the
I
team?
did not. No.
Okay. Did you notice some type of, did you notice issues with my work performance on what was on the data entry team, specifically when you were reviewing information on the spreadsheet on a daily basis?
I do not remember having any concerns about you at all, no.
Okay. Do you always remember everybody that works on your team, or is there a reason why you will remember if you have issues?
I do not always remember. They move us around a lot, and I've had hundreds and hundreds of people on my team since 2006.
Okay. So how can you be so sure that you didn't notice any issues with my work?
Because you were one of the smartest attorneys I've ever had on my teams.
Okay. Thank you. I should have recorded this part. Thank you.
That's the truth.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to have to think about my next question. On page 55,
That looks like one of my attendance emails to Miriam.
okay. And if you read the top part, the text that you type, when you say that you are presuming that annual will be used, did you mean annual leave?
Yes.
Okay. For this absence for personal non-health emergency, what reason made you believe that annual leave will be used?
Because you said it was a non-health emergency. And I was just so when I do attendance, if someone has said, hey, I have a dentist appointment this afternoon and I'll be out from 2 to 4 p.m., I say, Miss Jane Doe is going to be out from 2 to 4 p.m. using sick leave for her dentist appointment. If I do not know, as in this case, I presumed It would be annual because you said it was non-health related.
Okay, thank you. And do you have any? That email went out. I mean, you sent that email on July 17, right?
Yes.
And we were still in the middle of the disaster. Were you still working 10 hours a day and 6 days a week?
At least, yes.
Okay. So is there any reason, is there a reason why, maybe based on your personal knowledge or experience, why you did not, for instance, assume that I would be made AWOL?
That would not be my decision. That's a manager level decision.
Okay. I believe that I'm going to ask you one more question, please. If we go to document 11, actually, we don't need, I don't think we need to open the document. The document is actually the SOP, but I'm sorry, the document I wanted you to open was for the SOP for the ODA, but I was going to ask you, have you read the SOP in full for the latest ODA SOP?
The latest one, not in full, no.
Okay, but have you read most of it?
Thank you, Your Honor. The relevance to whatever the most recent SOP is, we don't know when the SOP came out. We don't know if it was tied to her employment or after her employment. I don't see how this line of question could be relevant to her.
Sustained.
Okay. Mrs. Holloway, so can we go ahead and open the document number 11?
Okay. It's loading. Still loading. Still loading.
While you're waiting, did you in 2020?
Go ahead, did I in 2020?
Yes, did you in 2020 work in loan processing, the loan processing department?
I did not.
Okay.
Okay, the document is open.
Okay. Did you say that the document was open?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Will you please go to page number 81, please?
Okay, our SRP.
Yes. Do you believe that that SOP is based on maybe what you might remember? Actually, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's an effective date for May 2018.
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that that is the most recent SOP? Or was it the most recent SOP in 2020, at the beginning of the disaster in 2020?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay, thank you. Do you remember me asking you for a link to get access to this SOP?
I do not.
based on what you know, based on your experience at the SBA, have many supervisors or team, I'm sorry, not supervisors, but team leads and other attorneys that are regular on disasters. Do you have any knowledge of whether they've read the SOP in a significant way?
I would have no reason to know that.
Okay. When you worked at the SBA in 2020, between say April and August 2020, did you have were you working on site or remotely?
Remote.
What type of how would people usually contact you? How would people on your team, say team members, usually contact you if they have a question or they have an issue or something like that?
So at work, they contact me via email or MS Teams.
Okay.
Either a phone call or an instant message.
Okay. And if somebody was you said earlier that you are responsible for timekeeping as a team lead. So if somebody was driving and they were running late, what other options do they have to contact you?
They would call my extension and that would come to my personal cell phone because my phone is hooked up to the SBA's phone system.
Okay. Was your phone hooked onto the SBA system for all the months, for all the time from April 2020 to August?
As far as I know, I don't know. Some days the system doesn't work exactly. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, what type of conversations did you have with managers as a team lead regarding the members of your team? What type of information would you provide the supervisors regarding the team that you are leading?
It would depend on your questions.
Okay. So, what type of questions would they ask you?
I would have no idea. I mean, there's a million different questions I get asked for managers. I don't understand.
Okay. What type of topics would you be talking about? Would you be discussing with the managers regarding people in your team?
Again, I would need more specific. I do not contact the managers. For instance, yesterday morning I got an email from a manager that said these 3 people are leaving. I had 0 say.
Okay. So from the time you're assigned first of all, who assigns you, who chooses who the team leads are? Is that supervisors or managers or people above supervisors? How do you get your assignment made?
Usually from a team manager. But I do not know who makes the decisions.
Okay. And who are the team managers? Are they supervisors?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
So you
what
mean
it
the supervisors are the team managers? Is that what you mean? Because I'm sorry, I've never heard of the term team managers before at the SBA, so that's why I'm asking for clarification.
Well, and I think there are different definitions of when we do the employee survey, those definitions never match what our people do here. So we have team leads, team managers, and then executives, like the deputy of accounts and the accounts manager.
Thank you. So will somebody that was a supervising attorney like Mrs. Rivera or Mr. Martin, would they be also team managers?
Yes, that's a team manager level, yes.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that. And so I'm going to ask you a question that is a little more specific. From the time that you assigned a team, how often would you be contacted by a team manager, say on a weekly basis?
Not that often.
Okay. So are there instances where you wouldn't at all, would it be common for you to not be contacted by a supervisor for a week or 2 weeks?
It would depend on what project I was on, but that is not uncommon. Mostly it's us asking them questions about files.
Okay. Okay.
Ms. Primo, I'm going to ask that you, hold on, Ms. Primo. I'm going to ask that you focus your questions on issues that are directly pertinent to your appeal instead of a lot of general background. I'm not sure that you need to address these issues with this witness. So are there specific questions about the issues in your appeal that you have for this witness?
Yes, Judge. I was going to ask you, Mrs. Holloway, did you have any input in the making of the data entry team?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you have any input in the performance of people on the? Did you have any input as to work evaluation for the people on your team?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge of why the data entry team was created?
Because they needed it done.
Okay. And do you know who created that team or that task? The team and the task.
It was my understanding that Erica Rivera created that.
Okay. Both of them, or just?
She was over most of the rapid stuff in 2020.
Okay.
Erica Rivera.
Thank you. And do you have any knowledge as to why the rapid team, the 23 years team ended?
I do know. I presume we were done.
Okay. Do you remember roughly how many entries on that we will make in on an average every day? Many people, the people working on the data entry team, how many, say, how many files would there be opening or filling out questions on the spreadsheet? Like every day, will there be, do you have a general number, an average number of files that people will be, not required, but that people, based on their performance, will open up every day and provide information?
Your Honor, I am going to object to this line of questioning. I believe that Ms. Kouemo was trying to get to something about work performance, and it's been stated pretty clearly that we're not here for work performance, it's for attendance instead.
Where are you going with this? Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. I wasn't actually going to work performance. I was going into the actual duties of the data entry team, just to give a general, not the general, but a more specific understanding of what the data entry team was and what we were actually doing. So that's why I was asking Mrs. Holloway to tell us how many files in a day roughly we will be handling on average individually.
I'm still not sure I see the relevance of that question either, Ms. Kouemo. Ms. Holloway, if you can answer, I'll let you answer that question, but then Ms. Kouemo, I think we need to move on. Ms. Holloway, do you know the answer to that question?
I do not. Erica tried to show me pivot tables, and I am not great at Excel, so Erica did all of that.
All right. Thank you, thank you, Mrs. Conway. I think those are all the questions that I had, Derek.
Okay, Mr. Upshur, does the agency have cross?
Good morning, Ms. Gilmore. Good morning, Ms. Howard. I just want to revisit your testimony first. When you were team lead for Ms. Kouemo, who was your first line supervisor?
Erica Rivera.
And when you were a team lead for Ms. Kouemo, who was her first line supervisor?
Erica Rivera.
Okay, were you ever Ms. Kouemo's supervisor?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you a supervisor now?
No, sir.
Okay. You report time dependent, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you approve leave?
No, sir.
Do you deny leave?
No, sir.
Do you give formal evaluation?
No, sir.
Did you ever have access to appellant to Ms. Kouemo's email account so that you just sent?
No, sir.
Did you have so that you could see access to her instant messaging account?
No, sir.
Or instant offer messages? Currently, approximately
9.
2020. And since my
Maybe more.
to obtain loan, disclosing to pose a risk for anyone
Absolutely. IRS changed the so that they can get we have to use what form to of that.
And retaliation for
filled out incorrectly.
their contact.
That sounds
Recollection about more than 5. Functions and operational.
yes, sir.
August of 2020. And who did you report the entire team to? Designations, discipline. Attending. Evaluate her performance. all this paper.
Yes, sir.
Your knowledge.
Witness?
Besides that, people, for example, to gather information. Uh, on
Should
If it's her private.
that
Mrs. Howell. Supervisors about. Supervisors about.
Not, no, you're not.
on your even conversations of anybody, not going to the at the SBA will have or teams or
No, it's my department cannot access.
you said earlier. You many different and did you started working at the at PDC 16 years ago, how many breaks of employment have you had with the SBA?
How many what?
Breaks of employment?
0.
0, okay. Are you a permanent employee of the SBA?
I am not permanent, I am cadre status, which is,
Would you explain what that means?
I don't know.
I'm sorry?
I don't know what it means. It just means I'm not temporary, but I'm not permanent.
Okay.
I wouldn't know what that actually means.
Okay. And your contract, your current contract, right now, when did it start and when is it ending?
Yes, Your Honor, I don't know that this witness's employment status is material to this case.
Yeah, Ms. Kouemo, what is her status material?
It is material because the agency has been claiming since the beginning that I'm a temporary employee. And it has also been trying to say that by being a temporary employee, I wasn't a permanent employee. However, Mrs. Holloway has said that she's also an attorney advisor and she's not a supervisor. So I'm trying to make a connection between her employment status and mine when I was working at the SBA.
Yeah, if I may respond.
Well, it's okay, Mr. Archer. I don't understand your status as temporary or permanent to be an issue in this appeal, so I'm going to sustain Mr. Archer's objection on relevance, and you can ask your next question, Ms. Kouemo.
Yeah.
About Form 4516, do you know what version of the form the SBA is currently using?
I do not.
I believe you say that you recommend you handle that form on regular basis, right?
I do not right now in my current assignment. I don't even see that form.
The last time you saw that form, would you please tell us when it was? The last time you handled it as part of the team?
Sometime in 2020. I don't remember.
Okay. And back then in 2020, do you remember what version of the form where the SBA was asking from borrowers?
I do not remember.
When you say that the IRS, it is your belief that the IRS required, did you say, I'm going to ask this question first, did you say that it was your belief that the IRS required the exact version of the form that the SBA was requesting from applicants in 2020?
That was my understanding, yes.
But you do not remember what version of the form that was?
I don't.
Do you remember whether that version of the form that the SBA was using, first, before I ask that question, what information do you base your belief that that the SBA was requiring the exact version of the form that the IRS had recommended? What were you basing your belief of that information on?
From all of my years being here and how the loan officers have always had to get tax transcripts since the day I started. In order to process a loan, they need that form signed and filled out.
Okay.
And they have an agreement with the IRS.
Okay. So I believe what I'm hearing you say is that that's okay to ask, but are you saying that you know for sure that loan officers required Form 45 or 16, and then you trust that the exact version of the form that they asked was the correct version that the SBA, that the IRS required?
Honestly, do what my manager tells me to, and they said use this form, so that's why we use that form.
Okay, thank you. And when you say that there are special, there's a team handling specifically that form, and there are special training sessions about the use of that form. Do you remember when those teams were formed and when the special training sessions started?
I do not remember, no.
Would you know, or would you be able to tell whether in 2020 until say mid-August 2020 there were training sessions about the form 4560?
I do not remember.
Okay. If there were any disciplinary actions made against anyone on your team, would you be informed about those actions?
Yeah, I'm going to object to this question, as I don't think the relevance for it. We're not here speaking about disciplinary actions, or anything of the like, for this matter, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Upshur, I think she's following up to questions you asked in your cross, where you asked if she was aware of any disciplinary actions taken against the appellant. So I'm going to overrule your objection, and Ms. Holloway, you may answer.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, ma'am, I'm not aware.
So does that mean that you wouldn't be made aware of any disciplinary action taken against me back in 2020? Basically, does that mean that my supervisors, meaning Mrs. Rivera or Mr. Martin or anybody manager, wouldn't necessarily notify you of any disciplinary actions taken against me in 2020?
That is correct. They would not notify me.
Okay. I'm going to ask you this question. I'm sorry that I just don't remember whether whether I asked that question before during this course. But did any one of my supervisors contact you to inquire about my work performance while I was on the data entry team?
Not that I remember.
When you were assigned to the data entry team as a team lead, did you have any reason at all to believe that some or all of the data entry team members were assigned to that team because there would be, for any reason, for any type of because of any type of performance issue, or because they were being watched by management?
Not to my knowledge, no, ma'am.
Okay. I think that I've asked all the questions that I wanted to ask. Thank you, Mrs. Holloway. It's a pleasure to see you again.
All right, hold on one second. Mr. Upshur, does the agency have any recross?
No, Your Honor, the agency would just like to thank Ms. Holloway for her testimony.
Okay, well, thank you for your attendance here this morning, Ms. Holloway. Please don't discuss your testimony with anyone who is not now present until this hearing is concluded, which will be sometime later today. You're released and you may exit the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we do have our next witness in the waiting room.